Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 24 of the CnD podcast. As always, I'm joined with Danny,
Hello.
and this week I am going to be taking you down a very cryptic path.
Oh,
Now, Danny, as always, with these mysteries and killer kind of podcasts we do, I like to start with a question.
okay.
What do you know about the Zodiac Killer?
Ooh. No, I don't know anything actually.
Nothing at all. Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't, yeah, yeah.
Well, you're in for a bit of a surprise because it is one of the most cryptic, unsolved, to this day, unsolved
Wow.
puzzles that has gripped the world. You know, if you are a crime enthusiast or a murder mystery, not even a murder mystery, just mysteries in general enthusiast, then you've heard of the Zodiac Killer.
Right.
And similar to the last crime podcast we did, I feel like you've also heard of DB Cooper. Shout out to episode 22. Um,
Okay.
but buckle up, mate. All right, because today I am going to be taking you through the history of the Zodiac Killer. 1960s Northern California. This is where we are right now.
Okay.
Um, the first instance happened on December 20th, 1968, at Lake Herman Road. A young couple, David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were parked in a secluded parking lot.
Okay.
They're in a small. It was kind of like one of those back in the day. They had like teenage spots that you'd go to where it was quiet and you can kiss your missus or your
Yeah.
husband or whatever, your gay lover or whatever.
Which
Um,
city is this? Sorry.
this is Benicia, Benicia.
Okay. All right.
This is California.
Yeah.
Um, again, Christmas was just days away. You know, they were looking forward to that. Obviously, weren't expecting to get shot.
Whoa.
But that night, someone pulled up beside them. Eyewitnessing reports seeing a strange car parked nearby early around 10:15 p.m.
Mm.
David and Betty Lou were both shot dead, outside the car. David was shot in the head. Betty Lou tried to run. She was shot 5 times in the back.
Sure.
No witnesses. There was no motive, no suspects at the time. And honestly, police had just no idea what they were looking at the beginning. You know, the evidence on scene was a 22 caliber shell found at the scene. It was believed to be a 22 semi-automatic pistol. There were some tire tracks consistent with the second vehicle pulling up next to the victim's car. I think that's how they knew.
Yeah.
There were some shoe prints in the area, possibly left by the killer, but again, with it being such a popular spot for teenagers, you can't really tell.
No.
And there was no real motive. It is known as the first Zodiac kill.
All right.
It was harrowing for the citizens. I think people were not really sure. It was a worrying time. But then on August 1st, 1969, the letters began to come. Now, this is what makes this case infamous. Okay?
Okay.
So, approximately 7 months after the initial murder, 3 letters arrived at 3 major Bay Area newspapers. So, this would be the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Valhedro Times Herald. If I'm messing that up, I apologize, but
Okay.
I can't quite read that word. Each letter, however, was nearly identical, written in like deliberately spaced uppercase letters. The messages were arrogant, and quite terrifying from what people have said. Um, they began, "Dear editor, I'm the Zodiac. Sorry, I'm the killer of 2 teenagers last Christmas and the girl last 4th of July. To prove this, here is the cipher."
All right. Okay.
Each contained 1/3 of a 408 character cipher. It was the way to describe it. It's like a block of letters and symbols, and shapes that the killer claimed would reveal his identity if solved.
Yeah.
But It didn't. He ended up, he warned the papers to publish the ciphers on their front page, or else he would go on a killing spree, targeting random people, including children, elderly people, and things like that. So obviously the papers complied, and the uh, ciphers were published.
Okay. So you
Now,
sorry, you said there was a second killing.
oh yeah, sorry, I went a bit too forward. Yeah, July 4th, 1969.
Yeah.
Darlene Ferrin, 22, and Michael Magayu, 19. Again, unfortunately, Darlene lost her life. She was shot some multiple times. However, Michael was not killed. He sustained a shot to the jaw. He sustained a shot to the shoulder and leg, but somehow he survived.
Sure.
Darlene, unfortunately, wasn't so lucky.
Is this a similar killing then, like the drive-by and stuff?
Yeah. So Michael was shot. A similar setting around midnight. A man walked up with a flashlight, 9mm pistol, wearing, dark clothes. Apparently, no warning, just opened fire. Interestingly enough, though, 40 minutes later, a phone call came into the police department, and we've got a quote here. A calm voice said, "I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year." Now, this was the first time police had realized it wasn't an isolated attack. The pattern was, it was already there. But the worst part about it, in my opinion, is he wanted credit for it. So it was definitely premeditated.
It's weird that he went so long between the murders, and then only claimed the first one after he'd done the second.
Maybe he was waiting for the coast to clear. Maybe he was waiting to see if anything came back on him.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't get enough attention and was like, "Oh, I'll do it again and give myself."
Yeah, I
some
mean, you're not
attention."
gonna. If I rob a pack of Star Mix from Asda, I'm not gonna go in next day and go, "You see that guy that robbed a pack of Star Mix?" If I don't need to,
Okay. Yeah.
It's just rousing suspicion at that point. Whereas if you leave it a bit, do another one and go, "Oh, actually, I got away with that. I'll tempt fate." With that one, Michael gave the description of the shooter as a stocky white male, 25 to 30 years old, around 5'8". This is the first case where the Zodiac Killer does contact police and claims responsibility for this. And he does give evidence of his involvement. Ballistics confirmed a different weapon than the first killing on December 20th. But it was still...
It's been a whole year. He's probably just switched out.
Yeah. Mate, he's dumped it in a lake somewhere. I mean, like, he's either melted that down for scrap or he's dumped it in a lake. You're not going to keep... Oh, unless that's his trophy. No one knows. No one's caught him, so...
No.
It could have been. However, August 1st, 1969, this is when the letters began.
Ooh.
So... like I said, I already mentioned this, but I went a bit ahead of myself. So 3 letters arrived in a newspaper: the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times Herald. Each letter was nearly identical, written in deliberately spaced uppercase letters, and the feel of them was very arrogant and terrifying. The first one read, "Dear editor, I'm the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas. The girl on the 4th of July. To prove this, here's a cipher."
Okay.
Now, I've gone over this already. That he wanted the papers to publish it as sort of like a test, I'd imagine. The newspapers come and compiled them, and the ciphers were published. And sure enough, first one was cracked within a week by a high school teacher and his wife. However, instead of revealing the killer's name like he promised, the message was chilling and taunting. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." He signed off with a symbol. It's a crosshair, kind of like a gun sight, and the symbol would become basically his trademark.
Oh.
A picture will be on the screen now for people who are visual listeners.
Yeah.
And soon after, like, the letters arrived, soon after those letters arrived, another one came in. And this time it began with, "This is the Zodiac speaking." He continued, "That letter is very weird." I don't know if do you want me to go through all of them, because there's about 24.
I mean, unless like something interesting happens, I guess.
So essentially, he's he would
Does he do any more
kind of
killing, or is it just?
Yeah, he sent about the letters are basically 24 throughout the next several years. They included threats to blow up school buses, kill randoms, taunt police with phrases. "I'm having a lot of fun watching the blue pigs run around." Each
Right.
one signed with the cryptic symbol, a circle and a cross. There was more. So September 27th, 1969. Two college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepherd, were enjoying a relaxing afternoon by the lake. Out of nowhere, a man approached them wearing a bizarre black hood with a white crosshair on the chest. He claimed he was an escaped convict. I don't know why that would be how you open it up, but he kind of tied them up, and then he stabbed them repeatedly with a knife over a foot long.
Oh.
Yeah, so Steeler was stabbed 10 times. Brian was stabbed 6 times. Mate, honestly, these guys, they survived.
Shit. No way.
However, the Zodiac did write and leave some evidence on their car door using a black felt tip pen. He wrote, Vallejo, 12/20/68, 7/4/69, September 27th 69, 6:30 by knife with the crosshair symbol.
What?
Yeah. Because if you look at the dates, that's the dates of the murders: 20th of December 68, the 4th of the 7th 69, and then September 27th 69, 6:30. So
Okay.
he had claimed again all 3 incidents just by off of that thing.
Yeah.
Now, there was some evidence. Witnesses, like I said, witnesses described the killer wearing a black executioner-style hood with the Zodiac symbol on his chest in white. Obviously, knife wounds, so the killer didn't use a gun this time, but very much knife. Some rope was left behind as well, but again, can't link it back. But it was very much the same symbol.
Yeah.
And then, October 11th, 1969, another incident, so literally less than 13 days, less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
October 11, 1969, San Francisco murder. Just 2 weeks later, the Zodiacs struck again. Paul Stein, a 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a fare in San Francisco, but when he reached his destination in the upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood, the passenger shot him in the head at point-blank range. 3 teenage witnesses watched the killer wipe the cab down, take his wallet and keys, and casually walk away. They even, this is what I mean by police fuck up so much. They described this guy to the police, and then they just put the wrong description out.
Oh.
So they were told to look for a black male suspect, not a white one. So there was some evidence left there. So bloody fingerprints, partial footprints were found on the driver before the front and rear doors. A piece of Paul's bloody shirt torn off and mailed to the Chronicle with a later, which I'll go into in a second.
Right.
Eyewitnesses. There was a sketch based on witnesses. White male, 35 to 45 years old, crew cut glasses. Murder weapon, believed to be 9mm, same caliber used in the Blue Rock Springs. Here's the thing that gets me. Police officers actually encountered him just minutes after the murder and let him go.
What?
Obviously, they were looking for a black male.
Yeah. So what did they say to him?
So, from what I've read, it's really frustrating, mate. I was just putting up this document, sorry.
All right.
So, obviously, so this is a couple of minutes after, obviously, he's shot him point blank range.
Yeah.
And obviously killed him. So, the eyewitnesses, like I said, the eyewitnesses basically watch him, pull, wipe the parts of the cab down with a cloth, obviously removing fingerprints and stuff like that. So the teens call 911 and gave the description of him. So white male, 25 to 30 years old, stocky build, reddish brown crew cut glasses.
Yeah.
Due to the miscommunication between dispatch and officers, the suspect description was incorrectly broadcast as a black male. Two officers were known as Donald Fulk and Eric Zelms were patrolling nearby and responded to the scene. So on Jackson Street, which is a couple of blocks away, they passed a man walking alone who matched the original description of the teens. White, mid-30s to 40s, wearing glasses, slightly stocky build. But, because obviously they were told to look for a black male, they let him walk right by. Okay. Only later that night, after speaking with the teenage witnesses at the scene, did police realise that the killer literally may have just walked right past them.
Dear.
And, do you want to know how I know that those two did walk past him? He sent a fucking letter on November 9th, 1969 to the San Francisco Chronicle saying, "The cops peeled rubber and went around the corner as I was walking down the hill. A cop car pulled up and one of them called me over asking if I saw anyone acting suspicious. P.S. Two cops pulled a goof."
Right.
It's literally word for word on the letter. Like, it's just, mate, in most of these cases, the cops are fucking idiots.
Yeah, well, they can only work with the information they're given, but yeah.
I'll let the cops off then. It's dispatch needs to learn better.
Yeah.
Like, they were literally told, how can you get a white male and a black male mixed up? Like, it's two different words. I suppose at that time, though, there was a definite racial aspect of it, wasn't there? And if they couldn't forget, it's most likely a black guy. Back then, that's what they thought. Which is completely incorrect, and I will never stand for institutionalized racism. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to where we are. So, the 340 character cipher, November 69, location was it was a letter sent to the San Francisco Chronicle again. It was titled Z340 Cipher. It was actually unsolved for over 50 years until it was cracked in 2020.
Wow. That's wild.
And do you want to know what the message read?
Yeah, go on.
I hope you're having a lot of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber.
Wow.
All it was him taunting them.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Now, there was some DNA reportedly taken from the letter, so some DNA was reportedly obtained, so it's like saliva on the stamps and envelopes.
Oh, wow, okay.
In the early 2000s, partial DNA profiles were extracted. There was some suspects based off of that. I'm just going to get me list up of suspects. So, there was primarily, I think, 5 or 6 suspects. 1 second. So, number 1 was Arthur Lee Allen. He was a former school teacher in Vallejo, California, convicted child wrong'un.
Well, he's a teacher and a wrong'un.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He had a reputation for being erratic and angry. He owned a Zodiac branded wristband from the killer's signature symbol. He lived near the scene of multiple attacks. He was allegedly heard by friends talking about wanting to kill people, and especially couples. Weird. He told someone that he likes to call himself a Zodiac.
Okay. He
had access to the same caliber weapons used in the crime. When they searched his trailer, it revealed a typewriter and weapons similar to those used. bomb-making diagrams and tape.
What?
He was interviewed by police in 1971 and later in 1991. However,
It sounds like
the
he should
DNA
be like locked up. Anyway,
does a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The DNA, however, recovered didn't match his in any way. Handwriting didn't match. His fingerprints didn't match the ones found at the Paul Stein's cab incident that we went over, where the kids got the wrong person. And apparently he was at work during one of the confirmed Zodiac letters being mailed. He is dead. Fortunately, now he died in 1992. He again, the guys are wronging from beginning of end. Like, the guys are fucking wronging, but he didn't do it. Because if the DNA doesn't match, there's no chance he could have done it.
Yeah, I guess.
Suspect number 2 was Ross Sullivan. He was a library assistant in Riverside City College. Suspected to be... he was suspected in the Cherry Joe Bates murder of 1966. The killing that was obviously the number 1. The first one in the car.
Okay.
He was physically... The reason why is he had a physical resemblance to the Zodiac. He was known to be intelligent but socially awkward. He wore military-style boots. Similar footprints were found at the one with the flashlight and shooting.
Yeah. In
the Berryessa Lake Berryessa. After Cherry Joe Bates was killed, he disappeared for several days, apparently.
Oh.
He had mental health issues and was hospitalized for schizophrenia. However, even though he was a suspect, no solid link has ever been really found. There was no physical evidence tying him to any crimes.
Yeah.
He died in 1977, but apparently, from what I can see, he's still widely kind of discussed in the top 3.
Okay.
Again, for me, no. I think number 1 has a better link than number 2.
Yeah. When did the killing stop? Sorry.
Let me scroll up here a minute. So the last confirmed killing was Paul Stein, the cat taxi driver, October 11th, 1969.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Suspect number 3 was Richard Kikowski. He was a underground newspaper journalist in San Francisco.
Okay.
He was known for his radical views and weird behavior. Apparently, this is why he was a suspect. His voice reportedly matched the Zodiac's, and he apparently was fingered by a former police dispatcher as for having like a similar voice. Okay. He had access to a printing press, and the Zodiac letters were often neatly typed or crafted. His initial was RG, matched with the unsolved "My Name Is" cipher, though it's very speculative, that one, I must say. He lived in the Bay Area during the Zodiac active years. Again, though, no evidence, no forensics, handwriting analysis was inconclusive. Nothing definitively links him to the crimes. Died in 2004.
Damn. Yeah.
Again, number 1, mate. Number 1 for me is better than number 3 and 4. And 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, number 1 is definitely the prime suspect. But I don't know if just because he's such a wrong 'un that like it just maybe it's too obvious.
Well, let me tell you about number 4, Lawrence Kane.
And the killer is like it's gonna be like some proper like genius to make up these ciphers.
Yeah. Well, Lawrence Kane might just surprise you.
Oh.
So Lawrence Kane was a Navy veteran and a real estate agent. He was diagnosed with a brain damage that affected impulse control. He lived in the Lake Tahoe area and was reportedly stalking women.
Right.
He was identified by Kathleen Johns, a woman who escaped a Zodiac abduction attempt.
Yeah.
Resembled the sketch and worked in the same building as Doris Lass, a possible Zodiac victim, who and had cryptic military background and used code.
Oh, okay.
However, no physical evidence. Nothing really. It says here nothing ties him, but I think someone going it was him, even though she tried to get it, she got away, is a bit damning to me. But the police didn't think so.
Right.
He died in 2010.
Wow. Yeah, it's you know, I want to know why it all stops and like, you know,
That's the mystery, mate. No one really know.
so what is the last confirmed like letter, I guess.
So the last confirmed letter from the Zodiac was January 29th, 1974, known as the Exorcist Letter. It was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle. I saw and think The Exorcist was the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen. He goes on to quote lines from the play The Mikado and Gilbert and Sullivan, a favourite of his, as referenced in past letters. Me 37, San Francisco Police Department 0. Obviously, claiming 37 victims.
Yeah.
It didn't include a cipher or a piece of clothing or anything like that, any evidence. But it did have his symbol. It quoted the same theoretical references he's used before.
Might be a copycat then.
It could be, however, it used the same tone and mocking style, and the letters were very similar in distance.
Okay. Weird.
It is confirmed as his final verified contact, and after that he kind of just disappeared.
Makes me wonder if he died or got caught.
Well, that's the thing, mate. No one knows. Did he die? Did he retire? Did he get incarcerated for something else?
Yeah. Got picked up for something else.
Yeah. I'm just going over something. I just want to make sure.
It kind of makes the other victims, the other suspects, not suspects anymore. Because like, if they were interrogated, then he would have like been like, "Oh, I was interrogated." Oh, I think he would have shut up about it. And the fact that he hasn't kind of rules them out as well.
So the only bits of information we have now are the last. So we had 4 ciphers in total. Only 2 have ever been solved. That was the Z341 and the 408 cipher. Yeah. There is the 13 chapter cipher Z13 and the 32 character cipher Z32. The first one being sent in April 20th, 1970, accompanied by a letter titled "My Name Is" with a short cipher ABCDEFGHIJLJKLMN. Example only. Actual cipher uses symbols. And the other one said the map coupled with this code will tell you where the bomb is set. Nothing blew up.
Okay.
But no one could solve it.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. That's weird.
It's one of those things that makes you question who did it.
Yeah, or if it's just a bomb just sitting somewhere. Like 50 years old.
I mean, what makes it so hard to solve as well is he used different methods: gun, knife, disguising, taunting letters, no clear pattern. Again, forensics in the 1960s and 1970s were very limited at best. That's being nice.
Yeah.
Partial DNA, degraded, possibly contaminated with the letters and stuff, so it's hard to get a match. Several of the suspects we spoke about have no kind of overlap in evidence. No one can really place them or anything like that.
No.
And yeah, he just quit cold turkey after 1970. Could he have continued under the radar? Who knows? It's
I feel like he would have bragged about it if he had.
Yeah, I think that's probably what people think as well. If he had, there would have been more letters.
he's either died or he's been like you said, incarcerated or something. Been taken where he can't write letters.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of got to question, like, will we ever know? But I don't think we will.
Mm. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Very much is, mate. It very much is.
Mm.
But anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any
Yeah.
ideas or any theories you want to bring to us, let us know. But for now, we will leave you guys enjoying this one and our previous stuff, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. See you all next week.
Bye.
Oh, bye. We will get better at the outros.
Yeah.